Action!
Welcome back, everybody, to Game 3 of Team Liquid versus Cloud9 in the Dota 2 Champions League. We've had one hell of a series so far. Team Liquid facing up against Cloud9, where Cloud9 took the game 1 in a really long game. The game 2 was pretty long as well, but Team Liquid, with their carry Tiny TC, performing much better in game 2 than he did in game 1, proved to be a strong enough carry to lead Liquid to victory. And now we're going to get into game 3, where these two teams hoping to be able to start out the Dota 2 Champions League right by being able to lead against the opposing teams. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my play-by-play man. It's going to be AC's going to join us for this game 3.
Once again, back on the mic with you, enjoying the broadcast and certainly enjoying the series. It's been a hell of one, and to tell you the truth, these opening series from D2CL have just been completely overwhelming. I mean, you want to talk about a good series we've seen in here. Cloud9 able to hold on in a 65-minute marathon in Game 1. Team Liquid bouncing back strong and off of TC's highly farmed Tiny, able to get the job done there. Now moving ahead to the decisive Game 3, we can see Liquid going to get TC Lifestealer this time around and going to go ahead and snag up a Chin as well, while Cloud9 opting to go with Luna and Ancient Apparition. So already continuing to put a lot of emphasis on early magic damage output, Luna with Eclipse, and in conjunction especially with Ancient Apparition's ulti. But what I really like about the follow-up Ancient Apparition pick is how it confounds a Chin. If you can land a good AA ultimate before a fight, nullifies mech killing, nullifies Hand of God, there is a chance to basically make that hero nothing but a walking attack damage creep with some centaurs and stuff around him. Sure, and you do have to worry about that, but the big thing with the Chin in most lineups is the sustain he gives you in a fight, especially whenever you have a Lifestealer as your primary carry, being able to extend a fight so he can rage multiple times instead of just trying to get his work done with one rage. Taking that out of the equation, Cloud9 has a chance to really mess up a lot of these initiations and fights for Liquid if they're on top of their game with aiming the Ancient Apparition ult.
Yeah, Team Liquid already, they have a draft that is going to give them a lot of really early to mid-game and some decent amount of push, but the Luna is already picked up by Cloud9, which gives them a lot better late game. If Lifestealer leads with the gold advantage and he's able to pick up things like an Abyssal AC fairly early on and is able to get on the Luna and pretty much shut her down with those bashes, that's going to be great. However, we know Eternal Envy is exceptional being able to find that farm, and once he has a butterfly, the world becomes a lot harder for Team Liquid. So they don't necessarily have that big physical damage like they did last time to address the Luna. Lifestealer not being able to compete in that department against Tiny was so much, but they do have a little bit more early aggression. So this time, Team Liquid, if they continue this trend, they should be winning the laning phase, or at least coming out even, and start transitioning into a pretty aggressive forcing team fights and forcing down towers, and that's exactly what we're looking for. That we needed either initiation, so look for either the Storm Spirit or some sort of very mobile hero like that to be able to throw down the next bomb, or you pick up some heavy push with a Shadow Shaman.
Love the Shadow Shaman pickup, and to be honest, of every hero in the pool after the new patch that I expect to see get more play as time goes on, Shadow Shaman is a monster in the current metagame. What he gives you in terms of push and anti-push with his Serpent Wards is massive. His lane presence is tremendous. He has a great nuke, and he has 2 disables, and yeah, I mean, he is just so versatile. He fits in push, he fits in teamfight lineups. He can lock a hero inside of his Serpent Wards if he's quick after a Hex, so on and so forth. Love that pickup even more from Cloud9. Was just about to say, I'm smelling a Bulba Clockwork. We see the heroes that were banned down here from Cloud9. Bulba not going to get his hands on the Elder Titan for a 3rd time in a row. Clockwork would have made the most sense there as a method for Lifestealer to get into these fights, just simply hooking the Clockwork in, letting Lifestealer infest out, then dropping the cogs and so on and so forth. That is where I think Liquid was thinking of going. They quickly pick up the Beastmaster on the other side of that, though, but I feel like Cloud9 and taking away that Clockwork from Team Liquid, really great drafting coming out from them.
Yeah, this is something that Beastmaster has been seen a little bit more of a rise, and that's he had a kind of a small buff there with the being able to have extra boards, but it's still the biggest thing about Beastmaster is his ability to initiate for you and be able to provide that single target to lock down that one hero. And Cloud9 pretty much have sort of a 4 protect 1 lineup right now. They do have some pretty strong mid game, but it's just the Luna so far that's going to be outputting most of this damage. Now, we still have yet to see our mid hero, and that could be a somewhat of a semi-carry. Something like a Templar Assassin would actually be a decent pickup for them. But we'll have to see.
I was going to say, I think you're dead on the money. They need damage right now. They have some great ways to account for the Lifestealer, having the cogs to trap him in, having stolen that quack. And, you know, and maybe for all I know, Liquid didn't plan to pick it anyway, or maybe assume they would do it. But either way, having the Clockwork on their own team, who can cog in the Lifestealer, having Demonic Purge for Shadow Demon, being able to disrupt a target that's been eaten with open wounds. Love what Cloud9 has done, but they are lacking in pure damage output until Luna gets big, and that's a long time to have to build out against this lineup, especially now with a Tinker, most likely going to be Bulba mid on the Tinker, Koikfa on the Beastmaster, though. Actually, now that I say that, either of those players can interchange on those heroes, so it's pretty tough to call. I mean, the tri-lane pretty dead set, but the Tinker as well, not only does he add push, but it makes it very difficult for Cloud9 to take fights in a stationary position, and that's all Clockwork really does well, is create a stationary fight, be able to cut fights in half, and so on. Now with Tinker's March of the Machines to have to account for, now to have to deal with not only the push that comes out from Shadow Shaman and Chen, but the split push from Tinker once his bots are up. I feel like this is a gorgeous draft out of Team Liquid if they can execute it. Cloud9 most likely looking for a bruiser, someone who can get in and do damage in the early and mid game. That's going to give them some nice fight potential too, but I really feel like Liquid got the best of this draft.
Yeah, I'm a little bit hesitant about the Tinker pickup. I thought they were going to go for a little bit more aggression here, and just being able to, especially since they already have such good push with Chen and Shadow Shaman, they've got a good initiation with the Beastmaster. I was expecting something that was a little bit more combat oriented. Now Tinker can fulfill that. However, he's very, very situational. Most of the time, I feel he's better in slower paced games. Whereas Team Liquid are looking to speed this up as fast as humanly possible with Nakes bombs, with trying to pick off heroes and turn it into towers. Like, they're playing a very fast-paced game where Tinker is a little bit slower. And also questionable about their laning phase. Like, how are they actually going to be able to run this successfully? Because if you put the Tinker mid, it leaves Beastmaster in that off lane, which Beastmaster used to be an old off-lane hero, however, was rapidly countered as people picked up on what exactly, like Beastmaster, he does nothing if you shut down the ancient stacks. So he's just a melee hero who has no escape mechanism. Cloud9, though, with the Tinker pickup here, they go for a little bit of a push with the Pugna. Yeah. And this is interesting because now Tinker apparently he's also a good defender, but he's a good defender against creep pushes and not necessarily something like Pugna provides. You can't really shut out a Pugna who just goes in, throws down a blast. It's much more of a siege-oriented push that does a lot of damage very quickly to the tower rather than an all-in creep push that is defeated by March of the Machines.
Oh yeah, and even aside from that, the Nether Ward of Pugna is going to make life very difficult for Koikva, and it will be Koikva on the Tinker and not Bulba. And again, those two interchange, and generally speaking, now that once I thought about it, Koikva has, I want to say I've seen him more on Tinker of the last few months than Bulba. But anyway, the Nether Ward, though, that makes life very difficult for a Tinker who relies on spamming spells. Also makes life hard on a Shadow Shaman who has a pretty damn high mana cost even at level 1 for his wards. That's a lot of damage he eats from that. A Shadow Shaman is most effective when he can stay alive in fights, get off his full kit, then let everything come off cooldown and do it again to close out a fight. But immediately, Cloud9 on the aggressive. The issue I have with Cloud9's lineup, though, when you look at how much damage can be output by Liquid if they do things right, if they're able to land an Ether Shock and that catches multiple targets, if they're able to get off rockets that connect and a laser that connects, if they are able to get down multiple procs of March of the Machine in a stationary fight, there's so much damage output from Liquid, and they are very squishy on the side of Cloud9. I mean, yes, they will eventually build up some survivability on both the Luna and the Clockwork, but the other three, hang on. Speaking of squishy, this is going to be a squishy First Blood as way too. First Blood. Super dead, and they give it to Sing Sing. So a very well-executed First Blood smoke coming out from Cloud9, and yeah, that goes a long way in their bid to make sure they tank up before Liquid can really bring this lineup to bear.
That's pretty much perfect because you can't get a faster bottle build than this right here. Picking up a little bit of regen, a couple of stats like it's the normal fast bottle build, and then you pick up first blood, and at the 0-minute mark, you're almost able to pick up your bottle already. So Sing Sing's going to be very, very happy with that one, and that means you have a lot of spam coming the way of Liquid Bulba.
The horn blows. Game 3 just about to get underway. We'll run through our lineup, see who's handling who. Beginning with Sing Sing here in mid. The courier going to follow him out of this mid lane with his bottle. It's already waiting right at the very edge. He's going to have Clockwork on the off lane, played by Bone7. It'll be Luna, once again, handled by Eternal Envy, farming up the safe lane. His supporting cast is going to be AUI, playing on the Ancient Apparition and the Shadow Demon, played by Pylai Dine. At least for the moment, looks like this could be a duo mid look coming out of C9. On the other side of the river, we've got TC heading into the off lane, looking to farm this Lifestealer 1-on-2. It'll be Koikfa farming the safe lane on the Tinker. That's a nice way for him to get a good start. Fluff going to be in the jungle on the Chin with Beastmaster played by Bulba here in mid. And Shadow Shaman played by Way2, who unfortunately gave up that early Force Blood after some very nice movement from C9 before the Horn got going. And the choice to send Bulba mid here, not tremendously surprising. Tinker should be able to do quite well in that off lane. And so long as Bulba can avoid giving up a death here, I feel like this should come out fairly even for both teams. I mean, the big point of contention is going to be TC at bottom. Can they shut him down any at all? They have the potential to do so. If they can, then Liquid can lose ground quickly. But so far, status quo, probably going to be okay for both sides, at least for a little while.
Right now, this is a little bit unfortunate in the laning phase because a lot is going to be going the way of Bone7. I do like the fact that Liquid are prioritizing the Tinker pretty early on and trying to get him that basic amount of farm because neither offlaner that they had available to them, both the Tinker and Beastmaster, depend heavily upon being able to use Ancients. So Cloud9 easily could have countered that. So instead, they put the Lifestealer as this off-lane hero who can do pretty good. We've seen it before, once or twice, where he just uses Rage, and he doesn't have too much disable to deal with. He's just got the Shadow Demon Disruption, and after that, he just Rage walks away. So realizing that they were going to be able to run the off-lane Lifestealer, their laning phase makes a little bit more sense, but I still have issues with it just because, look at this, Bulba is going to be able to pick up pretty much nothing in this middle lane. He's going to be using axes and boars pretty much for the most part. And
Disruption on the TC, no follow-up though. I was wondering if we were going to see a rotation. Instead, mid getting quite busy as Way2's made his way down to try to help Bulba. There are 3 there from C9 now as Bone7 showed his face rotating through. We'll see what they want to do with it. Now there is help in the form of Fluff, who's actually jungling the aggressive side. And AUI might actually spot this. Nope, gonna walk on by. And Fluff still getting away with this very aggressive jungling. Now, this could be a big point of surprise. In the meantime, TC open wounds on the Pylai die. No mana for a disruption. This is a big problem, and they are likely to give up a kill here. Oh, what good body blocking out of EE. Is it enough? It is. Great individual effort there to save his buddy. In the meantime, looks like there was a death on Sing Sing in mid. Didn't see it taking place as we were watching the play at bottom. But, yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about, having Fluff in range to come out of the jungle like that, allowing Liquid to walk away with a free win.
Yeah, Sing Sing's a squishy enough hero that if you do get caught out by the Shadow Shaman rotating in, and then you have the follow-up Chen as well, it's very, very easy for you to get a pick-off. However, they kind of should have known exactly what was going down with the fact that they no longer see Fluff. It was in his own jungle. He was pretty much blocked out by a lot of those early wards being thrown down by Cloud9. So you should expect that the Chen is going to be in the enemy jungle, especially since he could provide extra assistance to TC, who's being very, very aggressive in this off lane because he only has to deal with pretty easy supports. I mean, even once Ancient Apparition makes his way into this lane, there's still, again, no disable. So they have no kill power as long as TC doesn't overextend himself.
You're going to look at the early CS, we could see Tinker's actually on top of the board, and that's a beautiful state of affairs if you're Team Liquid. Getting him an early set of bots that'll be up only in 500 gold already. That's going to allow him to be a much bigger influence on the map much earlier than I think Cloud9 would like to deal with. 19 CS for Luna down in the off lane, or in the safe lane rather, with Sing Sing sitting at 20 right there with him. Bulba is being doubled up at this moment, but the Lifestealer is really the one that's suffering, and this is what I was talking about. Able, just the threat of any kind of a rotation, able to keep him from really finding farm. And, you know, TC had a great game too, but off to a bit of a slow start here in game 3.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they're going to make this work in the mid game. If they're going to try and get a Lifestealer and just be a Nakes Bomb here with not much to go on, or if they're just going to try him buy him a lot of time for him to farm up, and Tinker's going to try and get very aggressive. Now, they can't do that for too long because Luna does do very well in the late game, but at least Cloud9, they haven't picked up much of a supporting cast going into the late game. I mean, Clockwork is all right, Ancient Apparition is very good, but Pugna is the one pickup that really drops off heavily as we start going past the 35-minute mark. So that is going to be a big problem for Cloud9, and maybe draws it out a little bit longer for Liquid.
Mid, we can see Sing Sing once again in trouble, and brought down with the axes from Bulba following the second really nice pull through of Fluff. And Fluff is getting work done right now. He's level 4.5 roughly at the 5-minute mark, so good level gain there. Pylai Dai is going to disrupt the Tinker at top. And here comes help, Way2 right behind him. Pylai Dai trying to body block him. Bone7 caught with the shackles though, and now Way2 the one who's in a bit of trouble. And if he ends up sacrificing himself here, not the end of the world. And yeah, you're just going to go ahead and say that's fine. Just take that. Just wanting to keep Koikva alive, really prioritizing his gain. Not the best thing in the world. Don't want to give up a kill if you can help it. But in that case, the lesser of two evils at the very least.
Yeah, look at Koikva's build as well. It's really, really interesting. He's holding on to all of his abilities except for one in laser. And the reason why he's holding one into laser is because, well, first of all, one into laser is sometimes the preferred build, but also not leveling it up keeps the mana cost low, which Koikva has been using every once in a while to try and harass Clockwork, but also pick up some CS. And it's why he's getting near perfect CS. He's using that nuke occasionally when he's fighting up against the tower, because the boots of travel are so important for him to pick off, and it was why he was worth Way2 dying there, because the boots of travel are almost up for Koikva, and at this point in time you can start rotating around, and Lifestealer can go to the safe lane, and Koikva can start doing his thing as a Tinker, moving around the map with the boots of travel, and maybe even stacking up Ancients, just using March of the Machines continuously to put pressure on Cloud9.
Yep, well said, my friend. Just to expand upon that point, the other nice thing that comes out from having that 1 point in the laser is the miss chance. It's flat at just 1 point. You get a 100% miss rate for 3 seconds, and that alone adds to your survivability in a situation like this. So makes a lot of sense. Gives that flexibility, as you had mentioned, and now he places all of his points. It will be 3 into March of the Machines, a 2nd point into laser now, with 1 into rearm as those boots of travel do arrive. So we're at 2-2. All knotted up at 7 minutes in. The goal graph slightly in the moment in favor of Cloud9, but we'll see what they can build upon with it. Fluff is rotating down back into the enemy jungle. Poor TC still continues to struggle with farm. Only 16 CS for him at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's still not bad for an off-lane Lifestealer. It all just goes down to the fact that they don't have the supports to shut him out. But I am concerned because Lifestealer is a hero that needs to be able to have early amount of farm in order to be a big mid-game factor, and I'm not really confident in having a under-farm Lifestealer really being able to do all that much work. So I'm really still interested to see how they do in another 8 minutes time, 10 minutes time when we start rotating out of the laning phase, what their plan is for this Lifestealer. But Bulba has a haste rune. He's going to find a pick off.
Pylai Dai, he's actually going to be roared. We saw Bone7 engage out of that, and now he's going to be shackled by Way2. And again, the strength of that Shadow Shaman showing itself. One more auto attack, that'll do. And again, that's why that hero is just so strong. He brings you so much in early engagements. Use the Hex first, then the Ether Shock, following the Shackles just to get that extra bit of damage, and even got the kill with a decent auto attack from decent range. Sing there with Dai, and beautiful stomp. Sing Sing dies again. Pylai Dai forced to fall back under his own tower. And just like that, this early game has broken wide open. Now, you want to talk about mobility, Liquid's got it. 2nd set of boots of travel now complete on Bulba. They're going to be able to bounce around the map, and just like that, getting up near 1,000 gold lead generated by Liquid. The experience even more in their favor at 3,000 at just 8.5 minutes in. Well played.
Yeah, this is okay. So this is going to be their plan. They're going for this really ultra offensive boots of travel ganking build, where they're going to be using some of the minions coming out from the Beastmaster to be able to get in some of those basically 3 heroes anywhere on the map, because you can fast and double boots of travel. So that's a very, very dangerous gank squad that at any moment, like, you can't have enough vision. You can't have enough vision to be able to stop this. It's just impossible. So it's a really, really interesting strat coming out from Liquid, but it is kind of susceptible to, if you just have the wrong... Oh, here comes the first one on Alley.
Bingo. Such fun using the Hawk with TC infested into Bulba. And yeah, this is something you'll see once in a while, but this is an especially fun way to run it. as they pick off yet another kill. Let's take a look at the levels while this tower is pushed. Already we can see the Clock and the Luna are falling behind. TC, despite not having the best farm, is actually ahead of the Luna in overall experience. And Bulba #1 on the list, as you would imagine. Sing Sing suffering a lot from those early deaths. Sing is 1 and 3 at this point. TC, in the meantime, has picked up 2 unanswered kills. So he's getting into better shape in terms of gold and experience gain. EE, perhaps looking to engage, thought better of it, and probably the right decision to make here.
Yeah, honestly, I don't feel good about Cloud9's chances of coming back to this, because not only is this a really interesting strat, but it's one of those strats you have to actually think about what's going to happen and how you're going to counteract it. And it's not one of those practice sort of, oh, we've dealt with this before, let's go ahead and just do our normal routine. Especially since the fact that like this game has been, normally I wouldn't think that Cloud9 would be slow to react to these sort of things, but fluff and stuff. Sitting in the enemy jungle continuously, making those rotations and catching out Sing Sing over and over and over again is like a show of not being able to respond to a certain strategy. Like the fact that that's been able to be so successful is big concern for me. Cloud9 are being uncharacteristically slow to be able to respond to an enemy strat.
A little bit too much rigidity, I would agree. There's a roar on AUI following the lasers, and following the rockets. Now, though, the hook on the Quake, the Hand of God is there. Bone 7 might be in some trouble, will end up getting a kill, but will be shackled behind it. So they end up trading 1 for 1, well, 2 for 1 across all things. And once again, being able to bring down Quakefa, a big deal. But Clockwork is not a hero you want to fall too far behind either. And yeah, I'm with you. Right now, this feels very problematic to me for Cloud9. The metrics tell you it's a close game, and it's just Luna has such a long way to go before she's really able to match up with what's going on with Liquid. But, you know, TC is still far behind, so there's a very good chance that if they can stabilize, stop giving up deaths, they're going to be able to stay at least on even keel. But they need to start right now. They need to not give up any more silly deaths, and they certainly don't need to be giving up towers, which will eventually start to happen if they continue to be picked off.
This is something that normally you wouldn't look at this and go, oh no, Eternal Envy, he's actually in a lot of trouble right now, because his farm is fine for the most part. The problem is the draft, the strategy that Liquid are running here is very, very good at being able to pick off Eternal Envy over and over and over again, because he can't just have all these heroes constantly surrounding him while he farms. They'll fall too far behind. So it's expected that he's going to be ganked over and over again, even in his own jungle, even doing Ancients. There's nowhere you can hide from this Hawk. As you can see right now, they actually have the Hawk in the enemy jungle. They're just fortunate enough. Cloud9, they're trying to get a little aggressive. They're trying to use this Eclipse, not defensively, but offensively, trying to shut down Liquid and stop some of those ganks.
Quakefa spotted out. There's the Demonic Purge from distance and gets off what damage he can. Helps coming in, but not in time to save Quakefa. Way too. The one who's there. He does have Serpent Wards, but not going to be able to get in a position to do much with them. So that's a very effective pickoff for them. They lost Sing Sing. I didn't even see it when Sing Sing died. Did he just solo die to TC?
So Sing Sing was pushing down bottom. He was trying to actually force Liquid to try and respond, but they responded a little bit too much in force. He was expecting 1 or 2 heroes to come and stop the push, and for Cloud9, the rest of his reinforcements to come in from behind. But that didn't actually end up being the case. Liquid actually came in a little bit more force and shut down Sing Sing before that gank actually happened from Cloud9. It was just a slight mischance in timing is really what it came down to. So Liquid in the end still managed to make a decent trade, and because the dire advantage, because you no longer can trap Roshan with wards, but it's still really, really effective versus Roshan if you just have a big tanky thing to be able to tank it up. And in this case, it's going to be Chen and his creeps. So the physical damage coming out from the wards is going to be able to score them in an early Roshan, an early Aegis that Cloud9 can't really expect. They don't know what's happening, but I'm sure they realize it could happen at any point in time, and instead, they're just going to try and take some towers, try and get some gold going the way of Luna.
A little surprised they're not responding to this up here. They would be coming into a hot LZ, but with 2 boots of travel, a tinker, etc. I feel like, okay, that's why. Is he gonna go? I feel like they could have saved that tower, but opting not to. They actually did have an unused glyph too, so just kind of giving that one up. You know, that's something I've noticed earlier or throughout this whole series. It seems like Liquid, 3 games in a row, the first tower up, hang on. Oh, Eternal Envy spotted out, and once again, just look how this is working. This is such a fun strategy to watch, as just using the Hawk as basically a mobile teleport pad that can bring to bear 3 heroes in the blink of an eye because of Infest. Like, this is just a beautiful draft by Liquid, and their execution even prettier.
And Cloud9 doing the smart thing, like trying to take that tower, and that's why Liquid didn't go for that. And why try and risk defending a tower and getting caught out by Clockwork is a really good key factor right now as he jumps in on TC.
BO3 hits the hook, TC able to rage and TP home now. And Lifestealer in fights a great target. Not in fights or trying to solo pick off a hero, he's not always the best unless you have something like Fiend's Grip on your side to deal with that. And as good as Demonic Purge is, and we're seeing that put to work now, and EE actually got trapped and hexed. He's going to try to fight his way out, and he's going to try to get out there very quickly, but here you go, down goes EE. That's a terrible trade for Cloud9, and God, I love Rasta. Like, I've just been playing the hell out of Rasta in my own games, and seeing him in a pro game every time excites me because I feel like the hero just does so much and brings the team so much.
Yeah, that was a very, normally, that would be a very high-risk scenario that Shadow Shaman was running right there, being all alone at this bottom lane, because even if he did get a ward trap, and that's beautiful, but if you don't get that ward trap, oftentimes you end up not only giving up yourself, but a large amount of gold. It practically doubles the kill gold that they got because they clean up all the wards, and that's a large, that's actually like 300 gold going their way. So that's really important. However, the global strategy negates any sort of risk there is, because you know that all he had to do is throw down the wards. It's good that he got the ward trap, but all he had to do is throw it down, and they're guaranteed a kill. Top, they're going to get another one.
Top AUI, caught under his own tower. There's a reaction here to try and help. There's a hook on the TC. More help's on the way. But BO3, even popping the Blade Mail, very close to death. And TC beginning to feel extremely survivable. Caught by the Demonic Purge, though, and they may be able to slap his life away. Fluff's there, has Hand of God, will use it. And the Eclipse spent for nothing, as the one target he could have caught up to was actually sent home by Fluff. Fluff's playing extremely well, by the way. He's already level 9, looking to be in real good shape. 1-0-3, has a Midas up. We saw that completed just a minute or two ago. Has already used it once. And yeah, I feel like Cloud9 is beginning, they have to be feeling a sense of urgency. This game down to a 5,000 gold lead now for Team Liquid. Still want to age this up for 3 more minutes. The experience is actually up near 5-digit territory. They're more than doubling them in kills by every measurable metric. I mean, hell, you take a look at the net worth, you can see 3 of the top 4 in net worth are actually controlled by Liquid, and Luna is actually behind the Lifestealer now in overall net worth. So this game, no matter how you look at it, is in very tenuous ground if you happen to be a Cloud9 fan.
There's still the same problems for Liquid when we first originally looked at the draft, which was they still have that good late game Luna, but what if Luna never gets to the late game? What if no matter where she goes to pick up that farm, she's always shut down by this global ganking strategy? And that's the thing. Like, you're spending so much time trying to dress one hero, but Cloud9 don't have anything else for the late game. They don't have anything else that is really all that effective. So as long as they keep Luna from getting BKB, they can continue to shut her down over and over and over again. And even when she does have BKB, they will be at a point with Aghanim Scepter on Beastmaster, TC actually being able to pick up some sort of damage, that they'll be able to just burst her still with physical.
And we can see Sing Sing spotted out again. Ate a roar, it seems, from Bulba. Drops his Nether Ward. Here comes Koikva. Little wishful thinking from him. Hooked just a little north, and Koikva barely able to make it out of the way. Now going to use his Soul Ring to teleport home and lick his wounds. But we've got 17 kills in an 18-minute game. Fairly active game so far. But, yeah, I mean, Cloud9, stabilizing's good, but this is just not a composition they're up against that is going to allow you to reliably stabilize. The gank potential's way too high. Chen with the Midas now, even he becomes a bit of a time bomb. He's got 1,500 gold tucked away. We'll see if he wants to get a mech or maybe even a scepter. Wouldn't mind a scepter pick up on him just to give him even more potency. Of course, he does have to contend with the AA ultimate coming out from AUI, but thus far, AUI just has not been an influencing factor whatsoever.
Yeah, we see Eternal Levy, they're just kind of guarding him as much as possible, but he's so far away from his next item. This is going to be a long time. Now, Liquid do need to start thinking about trying to take some towers, but they can wait until Way 2 has like an Aghanims practically before they really get that sense of urgency of shutting down towers, just to kind of make sure that Luna doesn't have the chance to come back. Now, even if she does start getting in some of that farm, it doesn't necessarily mean that they can take the late game, because Liquid do have a large, like, despite not having one really good late game carry, like Lifestealer's the best they have, and he didn't have a great start, but they do have a really good, like every single one of those heroes is decent going to the late game, excluding Chen. And Chen even has that send back, which is actually a lot more effective because you're running mass boots of travel. So even he is actually really good in the late game. So they've got enough lockdown for one hero that even if Luna does get into that big carry position, they can easily just keep her locked in, keep her shut down, and the rest of the supporting cast of Cloud9 can do very, very little. But again, it's just running the risk. You don't necessarily want to try and do that late game against the Luna. You just want to try and end this game probably about 35-minute mark. Once that Aghanims is up on Shadow Shaman, I'm sure that's what he's going to be looking at next after his Force Staff. He may think about a Blink Dagger and go mass mobility and just try and go along with the rest of his team, but I think they have enough initiation right now that they don't really need Shadow Shaman to try and build in even more initiation. Instead, just trying to build in a little bit of push and ending this game a little bit faster, I think is going to be the best opportunity for Liquid to have a safe win.
Yeah, Scepter, very good pickup. I think BKB actually might be a good pickup on him as well. When you look at the damage output that C9 has for the most part, it is very magic-oriented, at least as of right now and until Luna gets big. Just having something like that up to allow him to stay in these fights, to use his abilities over and over, the amount of lockdown he brings to an engagement is absolutely massive. And just having that to account for Luna when her BKB does come off cooldown, but as of right now, really his options are wide open. They're so far ahead in pretty much every way that they have a lot of paths to victory. It just depends on which way they feel the most comfortable executing. That Aegis is going to expire right now. There it goes. But yeah, Cloud9 looking to make something happen. Way too maybe a free one here for Bone 7, but nope, spots the chin creeps and realizes, up, hang on, TC actually got a kill elsewhere on the map. Thought for sure we'd see a fight break out there. Instead, yeah, just kind of bouncing all over the place as they ended up diving this bottom tower. Now they're going to get a tier 2 for free, and really no option for Cloud9 to respond. All the other lanes are a little too pushed out. Maybe they can get a kill here. That's about the best they can hope for.
Yeah, man, it's pretty hard because you have to keep an eye on this Hawk because the gank happens so fast, and unfortunately that Hawk is just such a small little note on the minimap that you really have to keep an eye on him in order to know, in order to see what Team Liquid are going to be going for. But Bone 7 jumps in on Chen.
Fluff in some trouble. Should be a free one for them. And didn't see a Fluff spin his gold. He did. Actually just has that Bark Boots right now, so should be in pretty good shape. What did he have on the way to him? Fluff actually built a Blink Dagger. Now that's fun. Love seeing a Blink Dagger on Chen. Don't see it all the time, but can be very, very effective. Allows you a little bit more survivability. Allows you to lend some survivability to your team with the clutch send backs where you can walk up, send back, blink away, and that kind of thing. But way too, getting a little brave. Showing says, yeah, I got a Force Staff. Getting old chest out with him about it. Tier 2, though, should be more than safe here once, yeah, it looks like Cloud9 recognizes that with 2 boots of travel, they're not going to be able to sustain a push right now.
Yeah, there was actually, good pickoff with Shadow Poison. It's actually so important for them to kill the Hawk whenever they see it, because that is the vehicle with which Liquid go around ganking, but Bulba was actually trying to get behind there, that the Hawk was actually ready to sit there, and they were going to go behind the tier 2 tower and catch out Cloud9 and try and kind of sandwich them in. But unfortunately, the Hawk died. I'm not sure if it timed out and they just couldn't get the teleport out in time or what happened, but they missed what could have been a big opportunity, because that would have been a 3v3, and with the gold advantage that they have right now, that is all they need, is just even numbers. Cloud9 have to go into any sort of skirmishes with more heroes on the field than Liquid does, and that's really, really tough when you have this global response that Team Liquid has.
Absolutely. And you know, just saw the Has pop up the stat on Blink Daggers. I know I've seen it probably 3 or 4 times in professional Dota. And it looks like Tinker's actually going to find, once again at bottom, another kill that just takes place in the blink of an eye as Koikva and Bulba are able to jump on the target with TC in tow. But, you know, it's 10-1 in professional Dota, but it's like the definition of a luxury item for a Chen. I would say that statistic is a little warped because you're not generally going to see Chens get that item unless they're just so far ahead it practically doesn't matter anymore.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Oh, look at Koipa being so cheeky. He's going to take some of these Ancients with March of the Machines, using his Blink Dagger beautifully. Again, it may not be a gank on Luna, but it might as well be because it's shutting down that farm.
Look how much he just took there. He just took the vast majority of that, as a matter of fact, and the wards go down at the tier 2 top, so they're going to be able to push effectively. Here comes the rest of Liquid down through mid. They are just dominating this map, and this is probably Going to be a death. Yep, will be a death on Pylai Die. There's the roar from distance. There's a clockwork on the low ground. They need to watch that, but one last auto attack enough to bring it down. Here come the chin creeps for another TPN from Koikva, and Bone7 pops his blade mail, unable to do anything to save that tier 2 in the meantime. But this is just complete domination down the stretch. We're up to 14,000 gold lead for Team Liquid. Experience is right there with it, but more importantly, look at poor EE. What is the, I mean, he's got a Mask of Madness, a desperation item if ever I've seen one. Has a Yasha as well as drums and treads. Again, I use this term a lot. It just looks like a yard sale. Just a little bit of everything, just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, Cloud9 seem pretty lost at what to do against this kind of strategy. They just keep on getting picked off. They can't afford to stay grouped too much. They want to be able to push, but it's difficult against a Tinker. Their options are just so limited by this draft, and mainly because they were able to do because Liquid were able to do fairly well in the laning phase. If the laning phase had gone against Liquid, you would find these ganks being much, much harder to be able to execute, and the pushing from Cloud9 would be a lot more effective. But because the laning phase went well, this draft just looks like a snowball, pretty much.
Way2 uses the Force Staff, gets himself out of trouble with the help of some Shim creeps. There's Bone7 engaging, but Way2 almost bailed out. The AA ultimate was spent there. Sing Sing in the meantime being blown to pieces. Decreps himself to buy time, and GG's called. They know it's over. There was just no way they could take one more loss. And what has been a phenomenal series ends in one of the shortest games of D2CL so far, as Cloud9 drops Game 3 and Liquid improves their overall standing, getting revenge for the loss yesterday.
I can't believe this. This was such, after watching their game yesterday with Wraith King, I was like, okay, Liquid are kind of experimenting, but I thought it was like the same old Liquid that they always seem to do. They have certain heroes that they experiment, but not necessarily full strategies. Like, for example, Elder Titan, like their unique persuasion, just always picking up the Elder Titan, feeling that he's a strong enough hero. It makes them unique in many ways, but oftentimes I feel it lacks a certain strategy. Here, this Game 3 was beautiful. It was just such a well-executed draft. Cloud9, I don't think they've ever seen this coming out from Liquid before. I'm sure they scrim a lot, but this seemed to be completely new to them. They